Hey everybody, welcome to Scream Season 2. We're all back!
Yay!
Bibbs and Francis and Alonso, Episode 10, The Vanishing.
Which really has way more to do with the movie Buried than it
Yes.
does the movie The
Well,
Vanishing.
no, The Vanishing does.
No,
Somebody
it
does get
doesn't.
buried alive.
It does it, but it doesn't have that. We don't spend as much time with it buried alive. What you're thinking of is the American remake of The Vanishing, which is.
I saw the original
I
Dutch
know,
one.
but
Actually, I've never seen the American one.
The American remake has the happy ending.
I know.
And
that's why I never watched
this one
it.
is like the American
Well, that's
remake
true,
more
yes,
than
because he
anything
doesn't die. Yeah, no, and I will give the show enough credit to say that when they stabbed Noah, I thought, oh, they're killing Noah.
Yeah.
Ballsy move. And then,
Yeah.
of course, no, they didn't.
Yeah.
Randy didn't make it out of Scream 2. Why should Noah make
No,
it out of Season 2?
exactly. Yes, I thought that would be, there was a symmetry there.
But
But
no, does he kill Noah? Who's left? Like, the only interesting person, like, truly interesting character left is Audrey. And she'll have no one to talk to.
And you kill Noah, and you sever that kind of emotional connection that you have to a character when someone else dies. Like like when Zoe, spoiler alert, dies at the end of it.
It's
who's really gonna miss
Noah's
her?
the one who really carries the.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Noah's
you're
going
right.
to carry the burden of that around him.
Again,
by
happened
the
to
way,
him last season.
love
Everyone he
hurts.
dates, he's cursed.
But at least
Yeah.
he broke his virginity this time. So does every cloud.
True.
Has
But
Zoe
Is it okay that she's
I-
dead?
I
I don't think that makes it okay.
I think this is going to kind of cast a shadow on his future relationships with women.
Yes,
the
I think
idea
so.
that,
Yeah.
well, you might wind up being murdered, so maybe we shouldn't.
I would I'm sorry, every time, I like the actor who plays Noah, I like everyone. Honestly, I like the majority of the cast of this show. I do not get that much of a straight vibe from Noah. Like, if he just said, you know what, every time I go for a woman, she ends up being dead, I'm going to just pinch hit. Or something. I don't know how baseball works. Is that how baseball works?
I
Is that-
think you're asking the wrong guy.
I was gonna say,
I'm just saying, maybe he's young, he can explore, maybe he'll discover he's...
I will not entirely disagree with that
Okay.
vibe, but you
Fair
know,
enough.
whatever. He's
Maybe
a,
it's 'cause-
he's a talented young actor,
All right.
so he can do lots of things.
The big news on the show this week is that Brandon James is alive. Probably.
We guess,
And
yeah.
then there's no reason to think he isn't alive. Obviously, Emma's mom thinks he's alive.
Right.
And that he's alive, been alive for about two decades or so. And she didn't bring it up last season when he was a legitimate
Murder suspect.
When he was a legitimate murder suspect. I believe this is what happens when you change showrunners in between seasons, maybe. But this is bullshit.
The moment that she said, I have a way of knowing if he's still around, I thought, oh, we're getting some Boo Radley bullshit right now.
Yeah.
And we did.
Of course we did.
But you can't do that. Like, it was relevant last season.
Right.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. That's crap.
That's a bit of a switcheroo, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not true. It's just bad storytelling.
And in other breaking news in the show, the psychopathic killer doesn't play fair, as we found out. I played your game, and then you killed him anyway. Well, I'm a psycho. What do you expect? Like, I'm not going to follow the rules here.
I'm not Jigsaw. I'm one of Jigsaw's like lousy cronies who
Yes.
doesn't get the philosophy right. You know, I'm just like that was a good. Honestly, I've seen that bit done before, where you think you're watching a live feed and you're actually watching a recording of a person who's been dead for a while. I've seen that on a lot of shows, but. And it worked really, really well. It was effective and it was tragic because honestly, that whole time when he got the text and he went off to the lake, I assumed she was the killer or she was going to be involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, she's not. She's quite dead.
Yes, we have to rule her out
nice
now.
music in the background, fairy tale music when he was wandering through, and I liked his dramatic turn of emotions when that mind that we like of Noah's, where he's like, all right, I'm going to piece this together. Why am I falling for this? This is so stupid. I study everything there is to do with serial killers. I should know that this is a trap. And then when he finally realizes it, it's too late.
Yeah. I did like the Noah hallucination of Zoe like talking about the rocket ship or the apogee and the looking down at the blue marble. I was like, that's as near death hallucinations go, it's a nice one, and there was a nice bit of writing there. I thought.
So many shows and movies that are about death and murder kind of have to gloss over the grim realities of losing one's life because there's only so much time. Yeah. And one of the cool things about Scream is that it's a serial killer show that takes place over multiple episodes, and you can actually have a thing where someone just doesn't die and we feel bad about it and we forgot about it 2 episodes later. Someone might just be in mortal peril and actually be emotionally challenged by that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was actually really, really great. And it was a good bit of acting.
Yes.
On the part of actor whose name I can't remember. Yeah.
Zoe.
Anyway, he's great.
Yeah.
But then it turns out that the hallucination wasn't just solely from his mind playing tricks on him. That the phone, I believe, was underneath, so he probably could have been hearing her voice.
he was.
Oh, yeah, no, totally.
how
That
he
was
seeing it
established.
That was a good little switcheroo.
And I did like, I didn't catch who directed this episode, but I liked the shot from inside of the corpse of Emma's mom, like ripping up.
That was a good scene to like, because we're often just bypass the fact that it is Emma's sister and that is is her daughter. So no matter about the horrible things that she has done, like she's still slicing open her daughter. That's her own flesh and blood, and she's slicing her open to find out that.
And she's chili fresh still, thanks to some refrigeration apparently.
And of course, and some pig hearts that was placed in there by the killer, I imagine.
Yes, that was sort of the recurring motif of the episode. Was big fat pig hearts. Now. This is the first share of flashback we've gotten, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's been discussion
he's
that
been
he,
in there,
there's been discussion that he was from here, but like, this is the first time that we actually know that he was directly. And did we get anything out of that? Does that illuminate anything?
Not really. He's just sort of there. He's just had a thingy.
And again, it's thing that would have maybe come up in first season, right?
Yeah.
When they were,
well, he wasn't a character.
I know he wasn't around, but in the conversations about Brandon James and stuff, I don't know.
They decided, I guess, that he wasn't really relevant until after the incidents that were important in the flashbacks in season 1. I'm going to let him have a bit of a pass on that because, it's a show. You got to introduce characters die so often on the show. You got to introduce new ones.
Sure, and you can always beef up your flashbacks later.
This isn't as bad as Lost when they just like, and these two characters have been around for forever. You care about them, right? And then we're going to do a Tales from the Crypt episode and get rid of them. Why did you dicks? That did not work. So it's not that bad. And honestly, I think he's one of the more interesting characters on the show. I really do. He's got the actor has a great sense of charisma. The character is written in a way that you just don't see characters in that role in a murder mystery written. Where he's smart and he isn't easily manipulated and he's actually kind of ahead of the protagonists a lot of the time. Yeah. And they're so ready to just say like, oh no, all this stuff is going on. He's like, I know, I'm a police officer.
Yeah.
He's not a bumbling sheriff.
I actually really love that as a character and as a device, and I really hope he doesn't die or turn out to be the killer because that would suck.
Well, and having a son who's a major suspect, that's another interesting wrinkle too.
It's a thought though that maybe he is the killer because if you think about it, he's the only other person who knows about all this Brandon James stuff besides Emma's mom. He's the only person who could possibly manipulate it. He's the only other person who knows the significance of that farmhouse.
And if he's evil enough to be a killer, he's probably evil enough to put his son forward as a suspect.
Possibly.
To try to cloud his own.
Is he putting him forward as a suspect or is he trying to protect his son?
Could be.
In which, it's basically like, I'm doing all of these things and now you're doing all this stupid shit.
To bring light on me.
You're bringing light on me or you. You can't, you got to pull it back.
That's a good point.
Scale it back.
And we've also we also found out that Eli has been around for a little bit before this season, I imagine. Because he turned up to, is it Will's funeral? He was there in a picture that they seen. So
that's in the scenes from next week.
Oh, that's okay.
I remember.
I forgot about that.
They had this,
cool your jets.
The end of the episode, that kid shows up and it's just like, ooh, maybe he's Brandon James. Like, or you've talked about his whole Goldilocks-ing bullshit where he breaks people's houses. Yeah. He could just be breaking into Emma's house for
being a creepy
shitty
guy.
Giggles.
Yeah, I mean, what's a murder mystery without another creepy stalker? That we
Indeed.
Well, that's every murder. I feel like every murder mystery, basically boils down to someone committed an important crime, and then someone committed a less important crime, but decided not to tell the truth about the important crime to hide the fact that they did the less important crime. And I think if every detective could just go, we don't care if you did any of these crimes, just tell us you killed blank. Yeah. This is the ones we don't care about. Just if you didn't do any of these, then just tell us who fucking did it. That'd be great.
What's our thoughts on the Audrey Emma relationship at the moment? Because it seems that Audrey confesses that she basically stated that Piper couldn't have been the sole killer, as we all kind of read into. But she's like, because she wasn't there when Rachel was killed, so she's kind of trying to lay the foundations that Emma needs to start thinking out that someone's working in Piper's name, I guess. I was working with her back then at that point.
We got that going. What I actually think is kind of interesting, because I've spent a lot of this season wondering just how involved Audrey was.
Yeah.
And then she said, all I did was bring her into town. And I'm like, well, then why is the killer talking to you like you're the killer? And then only this episode that really clarified, because she killed Piper, and the killer wants revenge.
Yeah.
For Piper. And I'm like, oh, that really should have been a little tidier. I think.
Well, they made that clear at the end of the previous episode.
I watched kind of a lot of these in a binge.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going back an episode, but like
the big murder rave episode, like the whole ending is about how like he's after us both because we're the ones who killed Piper. So
It's leading to a big family connection, is what I imagine. With Brandon James's name being brought back up, and Piper, the fact that that's Emma's sister, it could be someone, another relative that we don't really know of that's going to get emerged from the darkness. Or I keep leading to the fact that we haven't really seen Emma's dad at any point here, and I'm thinking maybe he's looking for some revenge.
He's going to show up as a random corpse in the last episode of the season.
Yeah, we've not heard the last one for sure.
No, he's just going to like literally like they're going to think it's him, and then he's just going to fall in. There's blood everywhere. It's
going to be there with blood.
We already had the falling one, but something like that.
Well, something like that. Right. Yeah, it's going to be the random corpse.
All right, 2 more to go in season 2. We're going to figure this thing out if it kills us. Join us.
Scream and scream again.